Well, what do you know? Konami did it. They went to rehab and now they're on their road to recovery. Way to go. I'm proud of you. Now, quite some time ago, I made a video expressing my thoughts on Castlevania Requiem before it even came out. Let's just say lackluster results. But this time around, it's actually going to be much different. I have much nicer things to say. I actually think these collections are going to be pretty freaking sweet. And so here are the collections. I think it's Konami Arcade Classics, Castlevania Anniversary Collection, and Contra Anniversary Collection. Now, for Konami Arcade Classics, they've already shown off all the games that are going to be on it, and that one's coming out this April. So, next month. But the other ones are going to be coming out in early summer of 2019. And so far, they only have 4 out of the 8 games, confirmed for those. So I'm going to be talking about what I think the other 4 games are going to be based on the information we've been provided so far. But first, let's go over the games included on Konami Arcade Classics. The games included are Haunted Castle, Typhoon or Ajax, Nemesis or Gradius, Vulcan Venture or Gradius 2, Life Force or Salamander, Thundercross, Scramble, and Twin B. Okay, so this one seems to mostly just be space shooters, which is fine. I'm not that into those kinds of games, but, I like them. So, it wouldn't be a complete waste of time. And, they've got Haunted Castle too, which, is an arcade version of Castlevania. But, I already have the Arcade Archives version of that, and goddamn is it brutal. That is a hard fucking game. So, yeah, interesting they'd release it twice. I mean, this thing's going like multi-platform, so it's gonna be on PS4 as well. Yeah, so it's like 2 different ways to get Haunted Castle now. Anyway, moving on. Here are the confirmed games for Castlevania Anniversary Collection. The confirmed games are Castlevania, Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge, and Super Castlevania 4. Okay, so this is interesting. Based on the info provided so far, it's safe to assume they're mostly going to be focusing on the NES, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo games. Now, nothing's set in stone yet, but based on the information provided, I don't think they're going to exclude Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. I mean, I know it's not exactly the most popular game in the series, but it is still recognized, and by that I mean, they still acknowledge its existence. It's been re-released several times. It was on Virtual Console when that was still a thing. It's on the Wii U eShop, 3DS eShop. It was even on the NES Classics, so I don't think they'd exclude that one. It just doesn't seem right, And as for the others, I think that they might have Castlevania Dracula X, on the Super Nintendo. Especially since, I don't think they're gonna have Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. Of course, I'm not writing them off, but I think because Castlevania Requiem's already a thing, they're probably not going to include those games. Now, you never know. They could have the original Japanese version of Rondo of Blood, and they could have the PS1 version of Symphony of the Night. Who knows? That is a possibility. I'm not writing that off. And I think Castlevania Bloodlines would be a nice inclusion as well. You know, since there aren't, that many ways to play the game outside of like emulating it or buying, a physical copy on the Sega Genesis. Because as you know, even though Sega Genesis games were on Virtual Console, they never had, Castlevania Bloodlines or Contra Hardcore, so yeah, it'd be nice to have those re-released at some point, so hopefully they do that, but I don't know. But based on the information provided, we got 4 out of 8 games announced, so if they're going to be primarily sticking to the NES, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy games, then it would be safe to assume that the games will be Castlevania II Simon's Quest, Castlevania Dracula X, Castlevania The Adventure, and Castlevania Legends. Or alternatively, if, those 4 games were excluded, for whatever reason, at least Castlevania The Adventure, because that game honestly kind of sucks, then it'd be safe to assume that they would probably have Castlevania Bloodlines, the Japanese version of Rondo of Blood, the PS1 version of Symphony of the Night, and Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth. But I don't know, that one's kind of wishful thinking. As much as it would be nice to have Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth and Contra Rebirth re-released via these collections, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that. I think that if they do re-release them, which I really hope they do, because, as you know, those games are only available on Virtual Console, and that's no longer a thing. So, what I think they're going to do, if nothing else, is have a Rebirth collection. Like a Rebirth trilogy featuring The Adventure Rebirth, Contra Rebirth, and Gradius Rebirth. That'd be really nice to see. Assuming they don't get re-released via these collections, but if they re-released, The Adventure Rebirth and Contra Rebirth, that would mean they were excluding Gradius Rebirth. Unless, they have a Gradius Anniversary Collection later down the road, which I'm not writing that off as a possibility either. But, I don't know. How many Gradius games even are there? I don't know if there's 8 of those. Anyway, yeah. That's my thoughts on that. Moving on to Contra Anniversary Collection. The confirmed games are Contra Arcade, Super Contra Arcade, Super C on the NES, and Contra 3 The Alien Wars. Okay, this one's a little odd. So, they have the arcade version of Contra 1, but not the NES version. And they have both the arcade and NES versions of Super Contra. Contra 3 is a good inclusion. Contra 3 The Alien Wars, can't go wrong with that one. That one's pretty good. And Contra 1 in any capacity is nice, because Konami's kind of been ignoring that game for the longest, and I don't know why. It wasn't released on Virtual Console, It's not on eShop, and it wasn't even on the NES Classic. But they did have Super C on Virtual Console, eShop, and NES Classic. So, yeah, I don't know why they've been ignoring that one. But, okay, so here's my theory for this one. They have both the arcade and NES versions of Super Contra, so maybe they'll have both the arcade and NES versions of Contra 1 as well. I don't really get the point of that. I don't know why have arcade and NES versions, but hey, that's fine, I guess. Yeah, whatever. It's good to have options, I guess. But it's like, maybe you could have just made room for more games, but I don't know. There's not all that many Contra games to begin with. But, anyway, based on the confirmed games, here's what I think the games are going to be. Contra 1 on the NES, you know, alongside its arcade counterpart. Contra Hardcore. Contra Force. And Operation C on the Game Boy. And of course, if they were gonna have Contra Hardcore on here, then I guess to balance things out, it would only be safe to assume that Bloodlines would be one of the games on the Castlevania collection, which would make... So, alright, here's my final thoughts. My final thoughts on this, what I think the games on these collections are going to be. For Castlevania Anniversary Collection, it is going to be, and this is just speculation, you know, nothing's set in stone, but based on the information provided, here's what I think. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, Castlevania Dracula X, Castlevania Bloodlines, and Castlevania Legends. Okay. I don't think they're gonna have Castlevania The Adventure because, I mean, I think that game is more universally hated than Simon's Quest. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I fucking hate that game. And a lot of other people fucking hate that game, so best to just ignore it, right? Get it the fuck out of here, nobody wants it. And for the Contra Anniversary Collection, like I said, Contra 1, alongside its arcade counterpart, you know, the NES version. Contra Hardcore on the Sega Genesis. Contra Force, even though that's, I think that's just a reskin of another game. It's not even really a Contra game. Kind of like how Mario 2 was a reskin of Doki Doki Panic, but whatever. I think it's still a possible inclusion. And Operation C on the Game Boy. And the reason I think this, because, I mean, I know there's Contra 4 on the DS, which would be a nice inclusion. Don't get me wrong. But I just think for these collections that they're not gonna want to do anything too recent. You know? I think if they were gonna re-release some of the newer games, it would be on a separate collection entirely. And that for these collections, they're mostly just gonna focus on older games, like stuff from like the NES, the classic Game Boy, and the Super Nintendo. And also Sega Genesis. I think they're primarily gonna focus on the 8 and 16-bit eras of games. That's what I think. Could be wrong. You know, they could include some of the PS1 games, some of the PS2 games. You know, who knows? Game Boy Advance. You know, you never know, but that is what I think. Either way, I think these collections are going to be pretty freaking awesome. It's going to give a lot more people a chance to play these games. And it's actually going to be freaking multi-platform this time. Because, you know, one of my problems with Requiem was that it was a PS4 exclusive, even though that didn't really affect me because I have a PS4 and I don't even have a Switch. But I was just, you know, speaking on behalf of those that do. And, you know, Castlevania on Switch is just, you know, it's really nice. It's a really nice thought. Especially since, you know, there's no virtual console on Switch, so I know there's like that online service, but like right now they only have NES games, so yeah. And at least this way, you know, you've got the NES Castlevania games, the NES Contra games, and, you know, some other stuff released in a different form. It's still going to be digital only, which kind of sucks, but I've kind of embraced that at this point. Like, you know, nothing you can really do about it. Like, it is nice to have options. It'd be nice to have, like, the option for a physical copy. I think there should definitely be more physical copies, especially since Capcom released their collections physically, you know. Mega Man Legacy Collection and Legacy Collection 2, those had physical copies. And then there was Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1+2, that was a physical copy. With 2 discs, no less. So, yeah, they didn't laze out on that one. But Konami's still being a tad bit lazy, but you know what? They're doing better. They're doing better. Credit where credit is due. Okay, give them credit. And to be fair, Castlevania Requiem wasn't that terrible. The games ran pretty well for the most part. I think I noticed like some frame rate drops, but for the most part, they ran like a dream. Wouldn't say it's the best way to play those games, but it's a pretty solid way to play them. You know, Rondo of Blood's fully voiced in English, and you have the option for Japanese dialogue, and you know, Symphony of the Night's the redub, which, you know, a lot of people don't like, but, you know, the new voice acting is fine. I think it's actually better than the original in that regard, but, I mean, you know, nostalgia. I didn't really... I have nostalgia with the PSP version, because that's the first version I played, but... Anyway, yeah. Point is, it wasn't bad. I just think that the Dracula X Chronicles is a lot better overall. You know, since it already had Rondo of Blood, Symphony of the Night, and even a Rondo of Blood remake, which I really liked as well. And it was a physical copy. But hey, whatever. It's all good. But these collections, these anniversary collections, are going multi-platform. Going to be able to play them on Nintendo Switch. Going to be able to play them on Xbox One. Going to be able to play them on PS4. Going to be able to play them on whatever the fuck you have. Whatever you own, you're going to be able to play these games. It's not exclusive to any one console, so that's good. That's really good. I'm glad they're working out their shit. Glad Konami's working out their shit. Hopefully this means that there are going to be some new Castlevania and Contra games at some point as well. I would also like them to bring back Silent Hill, but I'm not holding my breath on that. Whatever the case, good luck on your road to recovery, Konami. Hopefully you can do what Capcom managed to do in 2017. Because it seemed like Capcom was going downhill for a while there, but they brought themselves back up. You know, they saved themselves from death. I hope Konami can do the same thing. And, you know, things are looking pretty good. But, with that, I will see you beautiful people later. And, Gonna be making more Soul Calibur 6 videos soon, so don't you worry. Everything's gonna be just fine. But, that's all folks. Farewell for now.